Hello, designers. I want to apologize for not being in class yesterday or today. It was unexpected and unplanned. That's why there was no lesson plan set for you guys yesterday. I do know that a few of you did probably start the video lesson that I did post in the morning. And if you did, that's great. If not, that's okay. Um, my plan was to present this last unit to you guys in class yesterday before you started that video. So this is what today is. So thank you for watching the video. I'll try and hopefully help you understand what the expectations are before you start that next video lesson. So what we're talking about is illustration. And illustration, for lack of a better word, is pictures. It's taking pictures and artwork to help people understand a concept or story. And there's all different types of illustrators. We're not going to play this video because I'm going to get a weird audio reverb back play on this. So what I want you to do right now is I want you to stop this video, go find the slide presentation that was posted in Google Classroom, find the slide, and I do want you to watch the short video on what an illustrator is and does. Okay, so now that you've watched that video, you know that illustration's been around a really, really long time. And they were necessary before the camera um, to basically create people's likenesses for publications because there wasn't the camera. Once the camera was created, then illustrators could become more artistic. And today's illustrators often create their own style that they become really well known for. So as you can see here, they become more stylistic in the way that they create images for publications and other venues. So illustration is probably the most challenging of all art careers. So we talk a lot in this class about how we've got the functional arts, which is like the arts that are applied to our daily life, and that's what we do in this class. And then we have the classroom above us, which is the studio room, and that's what we consider fine art. Illustrators live in this weird world between those two because most illustrators start out in the traditional studio practices. So, in other words, they're learning how to draw and paint and print make and use computers to create artwork. They then take those skills, and they're often highly skilled artists, and they apply them to more commercial venues, such as publications and websites and books. So, they're using their artistic skills to create pictures. When maybe an author or company would want an artwork rather than a simple photograph. Just like in graphic design, illustrators often specialize. So if you hear somebody say they're an illustrator, they probably do pick one of these categories that they focus on. So, such as fashion illustration. So they would work with fashion designers and with companies that are related to fashion, like, say, Vogue or Vanity Fair. And they would create illustrations for those purposes, either for the magazines or for the designers to help them idealize what their fashion designs would look like before they actually start sewing and making them. The medical field is another area that there's a lot of people employed as illustration artists, simply because in the medical field, using photographs doesn't always work. So you can see in this cross section here, if they were to take a body and slice off that top layer, it would be a mess. There would be no way you could easily identify things. So that's where an illustrator would go ahead and kind of clean it up so it's easier to see. And some of you might even know that's nothing new. Leonardo da Vinci did this way back when. He didn't consider himself a medical illustrationist, but he would dissect bodies and then he would record what he saw in his sketchbooks. So illustration's been around a really, really long time. You also have illustrators for technical manuals and things like maps, advertising and illustration, like you just saw on the last slide, obviously textbooks. And children's books is another big area. A lot of people specialize in stationery, so like greeting cards. If you ever go down the aisle in Hallmark or in a store that has cards, you see all kinds of illustrations. And one that most people don't even think about is, and this is related to the technical, is the directions that you use. If you've ever purchased something that came with step-by-step directions and it had little drawings of the nuts and screws, that's an illustrator. That's somebody who took the time to draw it. I always love these little IKEA ones, by the way. So what we're doing is we're kind of just tipping our toe in the water of illustration, because illustration is kind of intimidating because, like I said, they're really, really technically skilled. So we're going to start very, very simple because not only are we going to be doing digital drawings, we're going to be doing them on Illustrator, which is not always easy. We are going to start by drawing on paper first. But what we're going to be doing is you're going to take a simple object or scene and you're going to try to conceptualize an illustration with 3 to 5 colors. So you can see that here in all of the examples here. So we've got the green, the white, and the brown for all these little freestanding sculptures. This one's got the red of the cat, the green, and the blue. And then these little ones have the same thing similar to these. So what we're going to do with our illustrations is you're either going to make a freestanding sculpture, you're either going to make an hanging, i.e. an ornament, or you're going to make a simple artwork that we're going to mount and you can hang on your wall. Because we're going to take your 3 to 5 color illustrations and we're going to run them through that laser cutter. So you're going to, and then we'll spray paint them in the different colors. So just a little fun way to kind of get back into Illustrator, dig deep in those tools as we come into the end of the semester. So here's some more examples. This is way more complex, but I'm showing you lots of different ways that you can use this idea of 3 to 5 colors and how you're going to break it up into layers because they are going to be stacked on top of each other like you can see here from that side angle. This one is another really good illustration of how this is going to work. So this image is made up of actually 6 different. You will have max 5, but this one has 6. It's got the very background. And then it works from the background all the way up to the foreground, the first layer. So designers are problem solvers. Once you have your design, your simple drawing, you have to think about how am I going to break this down into 3 to 5 colors and what is going to be my background, what is going to be my middle ground, and what is going to be my foreground, because that really is going to be important when it comes to when you're tracing and actually creating this in Illustrator. You have to have a good grasp on what your 3 to 5 colors are and what is the middle, what is the background, and what is the foreground. You can do any subject matter that you want. You can be very stylized, like this was abstract, or you can do something more traditional, or you can keep it really simple. Like I think everybody can make a triangle in Illustrator. You know how to use the type tool. So if you still struggle with either drawing or Illustrator, I would think about using these, something as simple as this here. Feel free to steal one of these ideas. You can do line work, but remember your line work counts as a color. Now these, there's no color on these, but I wanted to show this to you. You can see how that last layer is the line layer and it stacks on top. Now doing line layers is a little bit more challenging. And when I get back to class, if you want to do this, I will help show you what you can do to create that line layer. So here's what the criteria is that you are going to be doing 3 to 5 layers. That equates to 3 to 5 colors. Okay. You have to use the pen tool somewhere in this project. Now you can combine it with some of the other tools. And in fact, for those of you guys who are going to line work, want to do the line work, I'm going to show you the paintbrush lesson that you can practice with that to do some of those line work as well. You're going to need to really have a good grasp of all of those Illustrator tools that we've been learning up until now. It can be any subject matter. So it can be a landscape like this. It can be floral. It can be little animals. It can be Christmas themed. Anything you really want, okay? But just tailor it to where you feel your skill set is, all right? After this presentation, you're going to go back and you're going to do that pen tool review. Once you finish the pen tool review, then you're going to start working on your image that you will scan in to trace. And in fact, that's what that video lesson does. Okay, I'm going to go back to that slide. So once you're done with this video here, you need to find the pen tool review lesson that I posted in Google Classroom yesterday. You'll see that you are taking my scanned moth and you're using the pen tool to trace it. And I show you how to break it down into the 3 colors. So I'm going through the video lesson as it relates to this project. So it will help hopefully make a little bit more sense, okay? So once you're done with the pen tool review, so you're learning how to trace your drawing, then you can start your own drawing, okay? So you won't be working from mine. From there, you need to come up with your own illustration. 3 to 5 colors. Remember, white and black do count as a color. So now that you're done with this video here, you need to locate this video lesson. It's 19 minutes. It probably will take you all hour to do. If you do happen to finish early, then you are to start the drawing, your simple illustration for this project.